Hello. Welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm Leanne, your podcast host and your single parent mentor and coach. And today I want to talk about the topic of single parent guilt. And it's a big one, isn't it? We feel guilty when we're not there for our kids like we should be, or like society expects us to be, because we're working harder to make ends meet. And you're not able to attend certain school activities, or you can't be so hands-on in the afternoons or in the evenings because you're on your own. You got to cook, you got to clean, you got to do the dishes, and you got to do any washing, and you don't have anyone to help you. So maybe you're not so hands-on with the kids in the afternoon time like you'd like to be because you're trying to get everything else done. So let's talk about managing the single parent guilt.
Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of Life After Plus One. So let's dive in.
Okay, so diving straight into the topic here. So how do you get through that single parent guilt? How do you not feel so bad about not being there for the kids at times that you'd like to be? Well, you might even feel guilty because you don't have the money to spend on them like you used to have because you had that double income. You don't have the money to spend on your kids like their friends' families do because they've got that dual income. You might feel guilty because you're not with the other parent anymore. Maybe there's guilt for that. You feel like a failure because a relationship ended and you've got guilt weighing on you from that. Or maybe it's just the time, poor thing. You're guilty because you just don't have that time with them as you used to. So what do you do in this situation? Well, first of all, have some compassion for yourself. It is a lot to take on a single parenting role. And so many people just think, what's the big deal? You just got to work and then pay your bills. It's no different to what anyone else does. It's actually very different. It's very different. And it's just like when I hear people in relationships say that, oh, I feel like I'm a single mom or I feel like I'm a single dad. Those comments make me cringe because it's nothing like being a single parent. And this is where that guilt comes in because we are doing so much. And you're not just working and paying bills. There is so much more. You've got to come home. You're doing all the cooking and the cleaning on your own. And you might have married people that say, well, I do all the cooking and cleaning on my own anyway. Well, there's also the financial pressure. You've got the pressure of having to think about everything that needs to be done. You can't just say, oh, honey, can you book the lawns in? Can you get my car serviced this week? Can you fix the fridge? It's broken. Oh, and the washing machine's broken too. Can you get that sorted? Oh, I need to get this done. Can you go buy me this? You don't have that. If you're cooking dinner, you don't have someone that can just run out to the shops if you've run out of something. You don't have someone that can just organize your lawns to get done or do them themselves for you. You can do it yourself. But if you need to book someone in, you've actually got to do it. You can't just say, hey, can you sort this out for me? I'm busy today. You've got to plan everything. And there is so much more than just working and coming home and doing the bills. It's the pressure of everything else and thinking about getting it all done. You can't just say, hey, can you drop the kids off at school tomorrow because I've got a meeting or I've got to be at work early or whatever it is. It's all on you. You've got to make life work within your schedule all on your own. And it's a lot of work. Mentally, emotionally, it's a lot of work. Even the small little tasks of just taking the garbage bins out, you've got to do that. Even after you've cooked dinner and you've cleaned and you've put everything away and you've tidied up, and then you've got to take the rubbish out, you take the recycling out and you do whatever else, and then you've got to get showers done, and it's all on you. So that's where the guilt comes in. You don't have that time to stop and spend quality time with your kids. And quite often when you're working and you've done a full day and then you come home and you're doing all the household chores and the cooking and the cleaning and everything else, you don't want to sit there and play Happy Families. As horrible as that may sound, you just want to chill. You're a human being. You're not a freaking robot. You need to stop and unwind. And sometimes you do get the guilt because you just want to sit down and relax. You want to have some quiet time, but you've got a parent. So the guilt comes in from all sides of it, from all areas. So you've just got to remember, Be compassionate to yourself. You are taking on the work of two people, and I don't care what anyone says. Oh, it's just work and bills. No, it's not. There is so much more to it. Mentally, emotionally, your mind is constantly ticking. You do not stop with everything that you need to get done. And it's not just the physical tasks, it's the things you've got to plan, the things you've got to work out, the things you've got to organize, the things you've got to book in. It's a lot on your plate. And you do not stop. And it's hard to sometimes get quality time with your kids because you're focusing on all these things that you've got to get done. Okay, well, I've got to book the dentist tomorrow. I've got to book this in. I've got to organize my car service. I've got to organize that. I've got to book this in. I've got to be here at 4:00. I've got to then pick you up and then come home and cook dinner. It's just, brain is constantly in go mode. You're constantly ticking. And you don't switch off. So you need to give yourself some compassion. It's okay to just stop. And if your kids want you to read one night and you are just fucking tired and you've had a shit day at work, your boss has been an arsehole, you spilt your coffee on you and whatever else has happened, and you're just like, I just can't be fucked dealing with parenting tonight, then you know what? Don't deal with it. And I'm not saying to neglect your kids, so please don't say, oh my God, what the hell is she talking about? No, I'm saying that if you don't want to read to your kids one night because you've had a shit day, then don't do it. If you don't want to wash the dishes or load the dishwasher or whatever else you've got to do, then don't do it. Have some compassion for yourself. Don't keep forcing you to do all these extra things when they don't have to be done. Does it matter if you miss a night of reading? Does it matter if your kids miss a night of sport because they've had a shit day and you've had a shit day and you just want to have a night off and maybe go get takeaway together? It's okay. You are a human being and you need to stop. So have some compassion for yourself and realize that you need to slow down and unwind. And you are already doing a shit ton of work. So don't be hard on yourself. You cannot give or provide for your kids in the way that you would like to. And this goes for financially because it's just you. It's just one income. And it's easy to feel guilty because you can't give them those really nice birthday or Christmas presents. It's easy to feel guilty because when you go shopping and the kids ask for new clothes or something, and as they get older, they're into the more expensive brands and you've got to be like, well, you've got to pull the reins in a bit. It's like, kids, we're on a budget. It's easy to have that guilt because you see their kids have certain things and then you can't give them those things because you're on the one budget. So the guilt comes from everywhere. The time factor, the money factor, the relationship that you're not with their father or their mother anymore. You've got to just be compassionate and try stop yourself in that moment because you are doing it all alone. And I'm pretty certain you're doing the best you can. So do not feel guilty for that. If you are giving your kids everything you possibly can and you are still feeling guilty, then you need to stop yourself. Because you are doing an amazing job. And it's hard, especially in this financial market. You see everywhere people struggling financially, and I'm constantly seeing posts of people and food options that they can do that are super cheap, that can last them as long as possible. You see people post and they go, I've only got $5 or $10. What can I cook for my whole family? It's got to last till I get paid again. It's a common scenario that you're seeing. It's not a one-off. So please don't feel guilty. And yes, it's not a nice situation to be in. It's not a nice situation, and it's not nice to live week to week, and it's not nice to know when you're going to see that light at the end of the tunnel and something's going to be a little bit better. But in the meantime, whilst you are in that situation, find ways to make it work. Do what you can to make it work. And don't feel guilty on yourself if you are just scraping by. Don't feel guilty because you're giving your kids the best that you can give them in your current situation. And most importantly, do not feel guilty for not being with the kid's parent. If you left that relationship or they left, whatever the situation was, it happened for a reason. And now you need to look at creating that happy family life with just you and the kids, and they can create their own happy family life with them and the kids. But that's nothing you should be guilty or ashamed of. So when you are in this predicament of feeling guilty because you don't have that time or whatever it is, but you're feeling guilty about your role as a single parent and not being able to provide for your kids like you would like to. So in this situation, you need to start setting realistic expectations. Be realistic of what you can and can't provide. If you take the kids to the shops and they're like, oh, Mom, I want this, or Dad, I want this, and you honestly can't afford it, just say, hey, kids, sorry, it's not in the budget this week. This pay, I've had to cover my electricity and the phone bill and the insurance. Next pay, I might have a bit more left over. So I'm sorry, kids, it's not in this budget. I can't do it this week. Be realistic. Set realistic expectations of what you can and can't do. And same when it comes to your availability. If you can't be at certain things because you've got to work, and kids might want you at the school activities during the day, but you're working full time. Kids may want you to do school pickup or school drop off, but you can't because you've got to get to work. Be realistic. Explain your situation. Kids, I'd love to, but we've got to remember, we're living off just this one income. And if I don't work, then I don't have a way to pay for us to live. It's okay to tell your kids, listen, you've got an option. I can work full time and do my best to have a decent income where we can do some fun things on the weekend, or I can buy some things for you every now and then, or I can work less and I can be there for you at school activities, but it means we have even less money to do fun activities. Be realistic with your kids about where you're at. You're working for you to provide for you and your kids, not because you just don't want to be in the house, and they need to understand that. So be realistic. Another thing that you can do when you are feeling guilty about not being there for the kids when you'd like to be, and you're just so busy and on the run with work and you're just not able to give them that time that you want to. Focus on the quality time. Don't sit there and think, okay, I need to be there on every single day at these times and I just can't, and then feel guilty about that. Focus on the time that you do have with them and make that quality time. Plan things ahead, and it doesn't have to just be on weekends. If you've got some nights during the week and you don't have any after school activities planned, then do something with the kids. Have that quality time together. Those are the things that are important with the kids, not just being at home when mum's at home or dad's at home and they're in the kitchen cooking and cleaning, or they're sitting on their laptop doing emails, whatever it is. Focus on that time that you do have with them when you're not working and you're not doing household chores. Make it quality time. Go out on a school night and go to a movie. Go to Tuesday nights, cheap movies. I don't know where you are, but here where we are in Australia, it's cheap movie night on Tuesday night. I think it's like half price or something. Take them out to a movie during the week. Have that quality time. If you don't have time with them, it's school pickup and school drop off, or maybe you do have to work weekends and you can't spend that weekend time with them. Find time to have quality time. You don't just have to scrap it completely because your schedule is different to normal or doesn't fit into with their school routine. Find ways to do some quality stuff together. And even if you don't have the money to do stuff where you've got to go out and pay for something, find something you can do that's fun. Make your time together quality time. Don't focus on the quantity and making it every single day. Make it quality. So make sure you at least have that specific day or some time during the week when you can have quality time with your kids, when you're not working, the kids are not doing homework, the kids are not doing after school activities, and you do something fun together. So when you're missing kid activities and kid time and whatever else it is, make sure you focus on planning some quality time together, instead of focusing on not being there when you can't be because you have to provide for them and yourself and to create a living. Focus on planning something else that you can do with the kids in your time when you're not working. Focus on quality time with them. And this is another thing that I've spoken about a lot, and that's self-care. And people just think, oh yeah, whatever, self-care, it's no big deal. It is a big deal because looking after yourself plays a huge role in the way you handle things, in the way you handle life. Because when you're looking after yourself, you're feeling good. When you're feeling good, you're usually happier and you're handling things in a better way. And you're not taking things so personally and you're not getting so upset over little things. I mean, you're not going to be perfect, happy Mother Teresa all of a sudden because you're looking after yourself. Let's be realistic here. But when you are feeling better, you're going to handle things in a better mind frame. You're going to not be so snappy and not so on edge, especially when you go for a run or you go for a walk or go to the gym or a swim or do some sort of sports activity where you can let off some steam. you are more inclined to feel good. I was just talking to a lady at the gym just the other day, and it was a really cold day, and I kind of had to force myself to get there because it was so cold. And I just finished my workout, and I was talking to this lady. She goes, "Oh, doesn't it feel good at the end?" I said, "Yes, it does." I said, "I honestly forced myself to get here today. I didn't want to come, but shit, it feels good at the end of it." And that's what you need to focus on. It might be shitty in that moment, getting yourself ready and putting on those gym clothes or putting on active wear or a swimming costume if you're going for a swim or whatever else it is that you do to make you feel good. It might be shitty in that moment, but at the end of it, it makes you feel good. And when you feel good, you parent better because you're in a better headspace. So looking after you is a priority. Because there's nothing worse than being that parent that doesn't take time out for yourself and you're feeling shit and you're feeling miserable. And when you feel like that, you usually eat shit and you eat miserable because you don't care. You're not in that headspace of worrying about how you look or what you feel like. You're just like living in Groundhog Day, doing everything over and over, and you're not looking after you. You're not focusing on your health or your mental health or your emotional health. You're just doing what you've got to do. But if you start looking after you, it'll make a huge difference in the way you feel. And when you feel good, you're less inclined to have those guilts and be sad and miserable and feel horrible. I mean, yeah, we're still going to get guilty about things, about not being there or not being able to do things. But you don't take it so personally when you're feeling good because you know you're doing the best you can. And doing the best you can also involves looking after you. And then when you're looking after you better, you can look after your kids better. I guarantee it. So make sure when you're feeling guilty that not just when you're feeling guilty, in your whole single parent life, actually in anyone's life really, you need to focus on self-care. And so make sure you're doing something that you like. And it doesn't have to necessarily be the gym or whatever else I've mentioned earlier. Anything that you can do that can make you feel a little bit better in yourself will help you in your single parent role and will help minimize the negative feelings you get towards those guilt of not being there because you know that you are doing something. You're doing the best. And it's also important to not feel guilty about wanting to look after you. It's important to not feel guilty about wanting to go to the gym or wanting to go for a walk because you feel like you've got to be there for the kids. You think, I can't do that because I need to be there for the kids. But you know what? You need to be there for yourself too. And I've always found it important to point out to my daughter, I'm always there for your school activities. I'm always there for your after school activities. I'm there for everything that you need. And sometimes I need to take time out to do stuff for things that I need. Some days I don't get there. But when I do go, I don't feel guilty because I know I need it. So do not feel guilty for wanting to look after yourself when you do everything for your kids. Your kids need to know that you're a priority too. And there's no shame in wanting to do something for yourself because you're a single parent. You're not putting your kids last because you need to look after you. And that's an important thing to remember. There is no guilt. There should never be any guilt about wanting to do things for you to make you feel better. Because that's like saying to the kids, sorry, I don't think I should take you to football training this afternoon because I'm too tired. And then that's making them feel guilty. You wouldn't do it. You'd take them because that's just your routine. That's just what you do. So the same applies to you. There's no reason why you should feel guilty. You're doing something for you. Now, when I do it, I usually try and work it around times when my daughter's at school or when she's either at a friend's or at a dad's. I try and work around it. And sometimes you can't. And there are times when I've had to take my daughter to the gym with me and she doesn't like it. But then I remind her, you know what? The amount of times I've sat in the car for your sport activities or for your netball training or for your swimming and I've just sat on the sideline and watched you. I've done this plenty of times through my life. So this is my time to look after me and that's what's happening. Find a gym that's got a crate. You make it work. And the longer you're a single parent, the longer you realize, well, you know what? I'm not going to be put on the back burner anymore. My needs are just as important. Please don't forget that. Don't feel guilty for looking after you. And when you do look after you, you feel better and you parent better. Now, another thing, when you're feeling guilty, I need you to focus on the wins. What's going good? Maybe your win was that you were able to rearrange your schedule so you could be there for school drop-off every day. That's, something good. And you also need to remember, going off topic a little bit here, that even though you're single parenting and you might not be there for all the school activities, there's a lot of people there that are in relationships and there's two parents and they're still not able to attend school activities or school pickup or drop off or things that are happening during school hours. So don't feel guilty because you're a single parent thinking that that's why you can't attend because you've got to work more. Just remember, there are other people in this situation too. So just celebrate your wins. Focus on what you can do and celebrate that. Maybe a win was that you saved money on groceries, you didn't spend as much, so you had some money left over and you were able to take them out for a fun weekend or for a weekend away. That's a win. Whatever it is, find something to focus on that's a win. That's what you need to look at, not things that are going wrong and feeling guilty about that. And you also need to remember, no one's perfect. No one is perfect. So don't let anyone criticize you on your parenting style or try critique you or tell you what you should or should not be doing. I guarantee the ones that are telling you what to do are not parenting experts. So don't let anyone make you feel guilty because of an opinion that they've given you. You live your life in your way and you live it the best you possibly can. Other people's opinions of how you're running your life are not your business, and your life is not their business. So don't let that put you off in any way. Don't let anyone tell you how you should be doing this and how you should be doing that, especially if they're not a single parent themselves and they don't know. They've never been in that situation. I mean, hey, they might be giving you some productive support. Take it on board. But if it's just someone nitpicking and trying to imply that they do a better job of it, then shut it down. Don't even worry about that. Don't let that add any more guilt to your life. And also remember, it is extremely common for all parents to feel guilty over something at some point in our parenting life. We all have some sort of parent guilt at some stage. So don't let that hold you back. Don't think it's just you. Don't think that you're doing a shit job or you're not a good parent because you can't be there, or you're feeling guilty because you can't provide certain things for your kids that you would like to. And again, in that situation, yes, it's tough as a single parent, but I see people in married couples that are living week to week. So it's not just single parents that are doing it tough. Married couples are too. But it is the way of the world at the moment, unfortunately. It's a sad place to be in when you see so many people living week to week. So please don't let that make you feel guilty because you're struggling financially and you can't give to your kids the way you would want to. It is a common situation at the moment. Please don't feel guilty for that. And if you are interested, I do have a blog on the website which has different side hustles. I think there's 25 side hustle ideas if you're wanting to add some extra income. So that's why I created that blog post as a way to help people that were struggling and single parents that were struggling week to week, to help them come up with some fun ideas to bring some extra money in. So that's on the website there if you want to have a read of that. Just a fun little 25 ideas of things you can do to bring some extra cash in. So if you are feeling really guilty, you want to try and better your situation, that is something to have a read of. But to sum it all up, just remember, be compassionate. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't get the shits and don't get frustrated yourself thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I can't do that again. I can't be there for this. I can't do this. Be compassionate. Understand that you're doing it all on your own and you're doing the best you can. And hopefully you've got a boss that's flexible and understanding and is able to let you be flexible in your schedule where you can be there for your kids, or you can maybe work from home, or you can have shorter days to work around that. So try and use those things as much as you possibly can so you can be a bit more hands-on. And remember, if you are not so hands-on, due to your work and your parenting commitments, then don't focus on the quantity of time, focus on the quality. Make that time that you have together when they're not doing any schoolwork or school activities and you're not doing any work, make it quality time. Do fun things together, even just veg out in the lounge room together, watching a movie with some popcorn, no phones, no devices, no work, no nothing. Sit down and have some fun time together. Make it quality time and communicate it with your kids. Make sure they know that that's where you're at, that this is the situation you're in because it's just you. You're not doing it because you don't want to be there. You're doing it because you want to give your kids a good future and you want to keep a roof over their heads. And let them know that, yes, you'll provide and do what you can when you can. If you have a week when you have extra money left over, then yes, I will buy that for you. If you have a week where you can maybe leave work earlier, or something's happened where you can take some time off or start a bit later, then yes, I will do that and I'll be there for you. Do what you can to make it work and communicate that with the kids. And I'm sure they know that you're doing the best that you can to be there for them. But some kids do feel sad because mum or dad's not able to be there, but just let them know. It's not because I don't want to be there. Unfortunately, I've got to work twice as hard just to get by because it's just me on my own. And it's not about making the kids feel guilty by saying that. It's about being realistic. And remember to celebrate your wins. Celebrate things that are going great for you and that have worked out really well. Whether it be something to do with your money, whether it be you've worked out some time together and you've planned a weekend away. Whatever it is, celebrate your wins. Focus on the good things. Focus on the love that you're giving the kids, the support that you're giving the kids, that you're there for them every night. Focus on the good that you're offering your kids. That's the priority. And don't feel guilty when there's so much good that you're able to provide for them. And remember your self-care. Your self-care is a priority, and do not feel guilty for looking after you. And last but not least, get some support. If you're really struggling, and it does get hard in the role of single parenting because you don't often have an adult that you can talk to unless you have some really close friends nearby or you've got family. But more often than not, you're going home and it's just you and your kids, and you just feel like you need to have an adult conversation, or you want to vent about something and you can't do it to your kids. And sometimes you just bottle it up, or you just get cranky at the kids because you haven't been able to talk about the shit that's been bothering you. So get some support. Whether it's contacting me here at Life After Plus One, and I can talk you through things and help you manage things and handle things in a more effective manner, whether it be just talking to friends, whether it be talking to family, anyone, make sure you've got some support, because it is a lot doing it all on your own. And you do need to have those adult conversations. You do need to just sometimes talk to your friends and people around you and just let shit out. Sometimes you just need to vent. So find your support network and use them when you're having those days when you feel guilty and you just need to let it out. So that's about it from me. And please don't feel guilty. You're doing the best you can. And it's a tough gig. Single parenting is a tough gig, and you're not going to be able to be there for everything. You're not going to be able to provide them everything. And you're not going to be able to give them the life that you had previously when you were with their father or their mother, because you're on their one income. It's a different scenario now. So don't feel guilty. And I guarantee you're not alone. There's a lot of people in that same boat. And if you are struggling, find some single parent pages and get yourself a single parent buddy. Get someone that when you're having a shit day and you're just wanting to get home and you're wanting to talk to someone and you're wanting to vent and you've got no one there, find a single parent buddy that you can just message and say, fuck, I've had a shit day. Can we have a chat? Find someone that you can use in those situations. Because it's okay to sometimes feel guilty. It's okay to sometimes feel shit and bad and like you're a shit parent. We all have those moments, but don't dwell in it. Don't sit there and stay there. Just sit there and have your moment and go, oh, fuck, that's not true. I'm doing the best I can for my kids. I should not feel guilty about that. So remember, you have nothing to be guilty of. If anything, you should be proud of what you're doing. And proud that you're doing the best you can to give your kids the best life you possibly can. And that's why you're working so hard and doing everything you possibly can for your kids. So don't feel guilty about that. I'm going to wrap that up. Once again, I hope you got something from this episode, and feel free to shoot through any feedback or any questions you may have on this episode to my Instagram page at Life After Plus One or to my website. And please don't feel guilty. Focus on the good in your situation. Focus on your wins. Focus on your self-care and the quality time. Create those special memories. Don't focus on being there every day if you can't. Focus on creating those amazing memories on those fewer days. Thank you again, guys. And until next time, I'll be in your ears then.
Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplusone.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after plus one.